diamonds, and toads. Once upon a time, in a quiet little village at the edge of a forest, there lived a widow and her 2 daughters. The elder Clarice was the very image of her mother, sharp-tongued, proud, and vain. The younger Marianne was gentle, patient, and kind-hearted, just like her late father. Their cottage was humble, with ivy creeping up the stone walls and a small garden of herbs and wildflowers that Marianne tended daily. Though poor in possessions, it was often rich in the scent of rosemary and thyme. And when the sun set over the hills, the whole place glowed gold. But despite the simple beauty of their life, the house was full of discord. The widow loved her elder daughter dearly, too dearly, and could see no fault in her. Clarice was indulged in every way, praised for every word, excused for every cruelty. She dressed in ribbons and lace even when there was barely enough bread on the table. Marianne, by contrast, wore plain dresses mended at the hem and sleeves. She did all the work, fetching water from the distant well, washing clothes, cooking, cleaning, and tending the fire in winter. Her mother's voice was sharp whenever she spoke to her.
Stop daydreaming, Marianne. You will never be anything but a servant if you keep your head in the clouds.
But Marianne did not answer back. She had learned long ago that kindness was the only armor she could afford. One summer afternoon, the sun was fierce upon the fields and the air shimmered with heat. The widow realized there was no water left in the house.
Marianne, go to the well at once. The one beyond the orchard. It's the freshest. Take the largest jug. Don't dawdle.
She lifted the jug, tied a kerchief over her hair, and set off. It was nearly a mile away, and the path wound through dry grass and thickets of briar. But Marianne said nothing. The air was heavy with the buzzing of bees, and her feet brushed the dust of the path. By the time she reached the old stone well, her arms were trembling with fatigue. She lowered the bucket, filled her jug carefully, and sat on the edge to rest a moment. It was then she heard a faint voice.
My dear child, might I trouble you for a drink of water?
Of course, ma'am. You must be very much parched in this heat.
Marianne set down her jug at once. She dipped her jug again, rinsed it clean, and drew fresh water from the well. Holding it carefully, she offered it to the old woman, who drank with slow, grateful sips.
You are too kind, my dear. Not many would serve a stranger so sweetly.
It is nothing, ma'am. You looked thirsty and I was here.
It is not nothing, child.
Few hearts are so pure that they do good without thought of reward.
You are too kind, my dear. It is nothing, ma'am.
The old woman's eyes gleamed with something ancient and knowing. She straightened slowly, and in an instant, her form shimmered and changed. She was no longer a beggar, but a fairy, glowing faintly as moonlight.
Forgive me. I did not know. You have done no wrong, child. You have shown a pure heart. From this day forth,
every word you speak shall be a gift to the world.
flowers and jewels shall fall from your lips, an outward sign of the goodness within.
The mirror of your kindness, a gift from my heart. Each time.
Before Marianne could find words to thank her, the fairy had vanished like mist in sunlight. Still trembling, Marianne lifted her jug and hurried home. When she reached the cottage, her mother and sister were waiting, impatient and cross.
At last, did you fall asleep at the well? Give me that water.
Oh, sorry, Mother.
Oh my goodness. Diamonds. Roses. Tell me, child, where did you get them? Marianne stammered.
Oh my goodness! Diamonds, roses! Tell me, child, where did you get them? I don't know.
And as she spoke, more jewels, pearls, sapphires, and delicate blooms fell from her lips. The floor sparkled with them.
Mother, she's bewitched. Bewitched? Nonsense. This is fortune smiling upon us.
Marianne told the story as best she could, and with every gentle word, more gems tumbled down. Her mother gathered them greedily in her apron, her mind racing with the riches they promised. When Marianne finished, her mother gripped Clarice's arm.
You must go to that well at once. Do exactly as your sister did, and we shall be twice as rich.
Clarice was not pleased by this idea. The thought of walking a mile in the sun and fetching water like a servant made her wrinkle her nose. But when she saw the pile of diamonds glittering on the table, she changed her mind.
Very well, if it will make you happy.
Be polite. Speak kindly to any old woman you meet.
The dust clung to her shoes and the heat made her flush with irritation. When she reached the well, she bent to fill her jug. But before she could lift it, a figure appeared beside her. It was again the fairy, though this time she looked not like a beggar, but like a beautiful princess. Clarice stared at her unimpressed.
Good day, madame. Might I kindly have a sip of water? I have not come here to serve strangers. If you're thirsty, draw your own water.
You would deny water to one who thirsts?
I would deny it to anyone who thinks me a servant. I came here for my own business, not yours. Then you shall be rewarded according to your heart.
What nonsense!
She muttered and began the long walk home.
Well, my darling, did you meet her? What did she say? Some old fool asked me for water, but I sent her away.
Before she could finish, a toad leapt from her mouth and landed on the floor. Then another and another.
Stop! No! No! Enough! Stop
The next word brought a snake coiling and hissing. What is this? Stop it. Stop it at once. But Clarice could not.
I can't.
Each angry word brought another creature slithering from her lips. The room filled with croaking and hissing until the widow fled into the yard, crying out in despair.
This is your doing. You've cursed your sister. No, Mother, you've brought ruin on her and on me. Get out, please.
The sun had just begun to set when Marianne left the house. She walked toward the forest, her eyes wet with tears. But not far along the road a carriage approached, a fine one, drawn by white horses and bearing the king's crest upon its door. Inside sat the prince, returning from a hunt. When he saw the girl walking alone, he ordered the driver to stop.
Young woman, are you in trouble?
No trouble, my lord. Only sorrow.
And as she spoke, pearls and lies fell from her mouth.
What miracle is this?
He stepped down from the carriage and spoke with her.
Or perhaps
Her voice was soft as birdsong, and with every word she uttered, beauty itself seemed to take form around her. Petals on the breeze, jewels glinting in the light, the prince was utterly enchanted.
Come with me. My father must meet the maiden whose words are jewels.
Marianne hesitated, but something in his eyes, honest and gentle, made her trust him. She climbed into the carriage, and they rode to the royal palace.
king and queen received her in the grand hall, and when she curtsied and greeted them, diamonds rolled across the marble floor. The courtiers gasped, and the queen's eyes widened. The court erupted in whispers.
Such modesty.
Surely you are touched by a grace beyond mortal measure.
Tell us, what reward could honor virtue such as yours?
If she will have me, father, let that be her reward.
So be it.
With every petal that falls,
A woman whose words bear flowers will surely make the kingdom bloom. And so, Marianne became the prince's bride. Her wedding gown shimmered like moonlight, and wherever she spoke, blossoms scattered along her path.
And the magic of this night bless you all with enduring happiness and love.
The people loved her for her kindness, her humility, and her radiant smile.
Your presence is the greatest gift of all.
Back in the village, things grew bleak. The widow, in her bitterness, found no comfort in her riches. The jewels she had gathered seemed dull and worthless now that her kind daughter was gone.
What good are riches when joy itself has fled?
As for Clarice, no one dared speak to her. The creatures that leapt from her mouth drove people away in fear and disgust.
infect your miserable lives.
Even her mother at last could not bear it.
Leave this house and never return!
Mother, please. Why? Why must I suffer so? Clarice, you bring shame upon us.
Clarice fled into the woods, weeping and cursing, that every curse brought more toads and snakes. She wandered friendless and unloved until at last she vanished from the world. Some say she still haunts the forest paths, her words croaking from the mouths of frogs by the well. As for the widow, her greed turned to madness.
My treasures, my beautiful treasures.
She lived alone, surrounded by the fading remnants of her stolen jewels, until one cold winter night, she was found dead beside the hearth. Years passed. Under the gentle reign of the prince and his fairy-born bride, the kingdom flourished, the poor were fed, the fields were tended, and the air of kindness seemed to ripple from the palace outward. Whenever the queen spoke, her words brought light and joy, as if the magic of her gift had spread beyond jewels and flowers to touch the hearts of all who heard her.
You've changed this land, my love.
Not I alone. Kindness spreads like sunlight.
Her children grew up in the same spirit, humble, generous, and wise. And though the fairy who had blessed her was never seen again, the queen often felt her presence in the quiet moments, like a faint perfume of roses on the air.
True grace and kindness cost nothing, yet they make the world rich. Beauty fades and wealth crumbles.
But a gentle heart will shine forever.